This week I had problem 18, which says, before starting to paint, Bill had 129 ounces of blue paint, 181 ounces of red paint, and 164 ounces of white paint. Bill painted 4 equally sized strips on a wall, making a blue strip, a red strip, a pink strip, and a white strip. Pink is a mixture of red and white, not necessarily in equal amounts. When Bill is finished, he had equal amounts of blue, red, and white paint left. Find the total number of ounces of paint Bill had left. So, with going on what we have, we're given that he has 129 ounces of blue, 181 ounces of red, 164 ounces of white paint. And he makes 4 equal-sized stripes on the wall of blue, red, white, and pink. So he has one stripe here that's pink, and we don't have a value for pink. But the question says that pink is a mixture of white and red, and not necessarily in equal amounts. So what we need to do here is we need to realize that each of these paints is being used to make one stripe. So the red paint, the white paint, and the blue paint, all of them are getting paint taken away from them to make the stripe. And if you subtract X from each one of these, X is the variable for our stripe. X is the amount of paint used to make the stripe, which is why blue has an X taken away from it, but the white and the red have an X and a Y. Well, in the case of red here, only a Y. In the case of white, X minus Y. And the reason is because the red paint at 181 is getting the stripe amount taken away from it, which is X, and Y taken away from it, which is the amount of paint needed to make its half of the white paint. To make its half of the pink paint. The Y is the pink paint, and the X is the amount made for the stripe. So for white, we need to subtract X minus Y because we want to get the other half of the amount of paint used for the pink paint. And Y and X will be our white, Y and X are going to be our pink paint and our stripe. So we need to figure out those values. So if we make some equations down here, we know that 181, the red paint, and 164, the white paint, their values subtracted by the variables will both equal the same amount because they're going to be left with the same amount of paint at the end. Red and white are going to be the same at the end no matter what, so these will be equally to each other. And the reason why this is 2x plus y is just simplifying this area here. And 164, which is the white paint, minus its variables, minus plus its variables, whatever you do to it, is still going to equal what the blue paint equals at the end, because the blue, the red, and the white all equal each other at the end. So no matter what these happens to these variables, this should be true. These should be equal, and this should be equal. So if we solve the top equation by subtracting 181 by 164 and solving for the variables, we get 17 equals minus x plus 2y. In the bottom here, 164 minus 129 is 35. Solve the variables, you get equals x minus y. And then if you add those two equations, you get 52 equals y. And then if you plug 52 into x equals 35 plus y, kind of taking this equation and moving it around so you get what the x would have been in that situation. Solve for y, and to solve for x, because we have y now, and you plug in 52, 35 plus 52 is 87, and that equals X. So then what we need to do is go back to the red amount or the white amount if you want, but the red's just easier. And you plug in the variables and you get 42. And Bill finishes with the same amount of red, blue, the amount of blue, red, and white paint. So 42 is what he's left with after you subtract the amount of the paint for the stripe and the amount of paint for the white. I mean, geez, why do I keep saying white? For the amount of pink paint here on the Y. So if you subtract those values, that's how much red paint is left. But we don't need to do it with the other values because we know that the white and the blue will be the same as the value that red's left with, which is 42. So all we have to do is add up the leftover values for all the paints, and all the paints will be 42 because of what I just said. So 42 plus 42 plus 42, or 42 times 3 is 126, and that is the answer. That is how much ounces of paint Bill has left, and he has no pink paint left. It's a big thing here is the no pink paint. When I first did this, I messed up and I added 42 4 times instead of 3 times because I was thinking about, you know, 4 stripes and we're doing 4 things of paint here, but you're taking away red paint and you're taking away white paint from the amount of white paint and red paint that you start with to make the pink paint. Since you're making the pink paint, there's nothing to start over with. You use all the pink paint you make, so you don't have any pink paint left, and you just have these 3 values, which are all going to be the same, and that's going to be the answer. Thank you.